Ciao jewelry makers, it's Joee Balestrieri. I know I have that long Italian last name. Many of you met me for the first time yesterday when I did the video with Wendy's husband. I drove to Deltona to film that with him in her little studio to introduce myself and talk to you about the plans that Chris and I had been talking about for weeks to keep Wendy's channel going. So I am going to be helping out on her channel, and I know for many of you it seems that I have appeared out of nowhere, so because you don't know me. So I was thinking that maybe I would do a video sort of a getting to know me, show you some of the jewelry and some of the projects that I do and have done, and you know, maybe even the ones as well, Wendy used to call it your jewelry journey. She referred to that in some of her older videos, and I like that because we do get better and we get more creative, and we the more we do, the more we learn. So maybe that video will be forthcoming. For today, we are going to do a little unboxing of the September 2023 Bargain Bead Box, but it is so late in the month, and I think most of you have your box, you've opened it and worked with it, so we won't spend a lot of time on that, but we are going to make a piece together today. This is Wendy's here. Chris was kind enough to let me take it and work with it for you guys. So I have a little bit of housekeeping before we get started today, and I just wanted to say that after our video was up yesterday, there were hundreds of comments, and I was completely overwhelmed and so grateful. I did not expect out of 400 comments not to have a single negative comment. Your input, your insights, your feelings, your emotions were all so heartfelt and positive and encouraging, and I didn't sleep very much last night. I started out thinking I will reply to every single person, and again this morning I worked on that, so some of you have received a message from me in the chat. But I also became a little bit concerned, really worried that you would be disappointed, because so many of you expressed that you loved Wendy's voice, that she'd helped you through things, that you loved her style. And I started to fear, because I cannot be Wendy, I have to be myself. And although I will do my very best, I feel a little bit worried, and I felt like I should say that. And I do get it, because I was one of Wendy's followers too, and I enjoyed her videos and she inspired me. And as we go forward, I plan to show you what I've made, what my take was on some of the videos that you guys have seen her do in the past. So that is in the plan. Also, I was listening about the things you wanted to see continue on her channel. So I have a meeting with Chris tonight, and I'm going to ask him to bring me the Wendy's box of cards that she always picked her encouraging word for the day from. And for a while, I would like to continue with that because so many of you requested that. So that is also in the plan. And I just wanted to say that, and we touched on it in our conversation, in our video that we did yesterday, to tell you that I am an experienced jewelry maker, and I have a background in interior design. So that part is good. But with that being said, I have no experience filming myself and making videos. So there is a little bit of a learning curve, maybe a lot of a learning curve. And, you know, I will get better, and I just ask for your patience. And what I've already seen in the comments is that you are Wendy's followers, because Wendy was so kind to people and very gentle with people, and everything that I read for the last 2 days based on mine and Chris's video has been that way: kind, gentle, very tolerant and patient, and I really thank you guys for that. It's amazing. So now I am actually using a light to light my videos that belong to Wendy. Chris sent me home with that, and also my camera is on her tripod, so that is going to help a lot, and I'm really grateful that I didn't have to figure all of that out on my own. I have Wendy's husband as my tech advisor, so that's going to be really good. And going forward, I hope that I don't disappoint you, and I hope that we can continue to create and have fun, because Wendy didn't let anything stop her, and I think she would really like what we're doing. I remember her last year, her first hurricane in Florida, and no power, and Wendy was on her back patio filming videos for her channel. So she really didn't let anything stop her creativity or daunt her spirit, and all of that coupled with the sweetness that she had and the kindness and how gentle she was in dealing with people is the way that I hope to go forward. And I hope everybody will find inspiration a little bit the way that you did with her. And that is my hope. And so today we are going to make a piece of jewelry. I'm going to get into using some of the pieces from my bead box bargain that is already opened, and we'll look into Wendy's, and that will get us through this month. And then hopefully in October we'll have a great unboxing and a tutorial or two, or a make along with me. And so that is my hope. And I thank you again. I don't have the words really to tell you how wonderful your comments and your input were on our video. And with no further ado, let's open this and make a piece of jewelry together. Let's open the bead box bargains for September of 2023. I am not going to do a full unboxing this month, as you know, but I am going to pull out some things. I used up all of the silver spacers in my other projects, and I thought I would also just tell you what my favorites were from this box. I think these porcelain glazed, they are 12mm glazed porcelain round beads in the color Dark Orchid. I love those. When the sister site to Bargain Bead Box Bargains, puts their box extras up for sale, I get an email every month, and this is something I want to buy more of, to have to work with. The other thing that I am going to pull out is this gorgeous chain. This is stainless steel paper clip chain. I love this link. I love the size. I love that it's stainless steel. In Florida, we have so much humidity. We all wear sunscreen. Stainless steel is such a great choice for jewelry, especially in the summer and in the hotter months. So I'm going to pull this out of Wendy's box. I did not use my charm like this. This is the laser cut stainless steel mountain charm, but it's going to be used in the piece we're going to make together, but I still have mine for that. And I realized when I was looking through this that I was missing this strand of beads in my box. So I may use this one in the piece I'm designing. So I'm going to pull that out. And oh, the other thing that is really unique in this box is this stainless steel carabiner clasp. And it is so easy to work with. And I'm excited about it because it's not anything I would have purchased if I was on my own, which is one of the joys of a curated box like this, is you get things in front of you that maybe you wouldn't have chosen on your own, and then you get outside your comfort zone with your creativity. So I've already done a piece using mine, and I'm going to use Wendy's in the necklace we're going to work on today. So I'm going to set that aside. And I think that's all we're going to do until next month when we get our October Bargain Bead Box. I'll do a full unboxing and choose my favorites and ask you guys in the comments what are your favorites and what we plan to buy more of. So I'm going to set Wendy's aside. Give me a moment to change my mat around, and I'm going to show you. Oh, wait, let me do it this way. Instead of taking a pause, let me see if I can just... I'm going to start, before we start making something, I'm going to show you what I have already done with my beads. This is not a new style of necklace. I've made these in many different ways. I did this one using the 6mm Jasper beads, the crystal, the little small, I think they were 4mm, the matte Jasper beads, and then the 8mm faceted Jasper beads. And I used the donut and created this sort of ladder. And I used the chain for the back. And the really wonderful thing that I got jump rings out when I was making this. And then I realized we don't need jump rings for this carabiner and this chain if you choose to use them together. You simply string the chain onto the carabiner. I think my piece is long enough that it could be an over-the-head necklace, but that is so nice. You just have to remember to string them on in the proper order. The one side goes first and then the next side. Sorry, guys. I have a lot to learn about the camera and the videotaping. I so appreciate your patience with that. So I did want to say something else about this chain that maybe will save some of your tools. I keep a pair of junk cutters that are a little bit heavy duty, and I cut all sorts of things with them. And this chain is stainless steel, and it is really, really thick. And so I did not even use my junk cutters on this chain. I used my memory wire cutters. For those of you that don't know what they are, this is what they look like. These are made for stainless steel cable and chain. They're not as precise. They're not as precise as, you know, we're used to in jewelry making. We're used to a smaller blade, but you really need to do this. When I cut this chain, even cutting one side didn't release the link. I had to cut both sides. It just doesn't move. It's really tough. So save your good cutters. Get something that's going to be okay cutting through stainless steel. That's what you need if you cut this chain, if you shorten the length, which I did. So that is my piece that I made. I did a tutorial on this for you guys, but I didn't have Wendy's tripod at the time, and the video just really isn't suitable, so it's not going to go up. But this is not a new design. It's fairly easy to do. I usually do it with actually 5 sections. I'll go up 2 more bars. It can be configured in different ways, smaller beads, but I just decided with this box to do the three sections, and I just thought I would share it with you as a finished piece. So without further ado, let me switch my mat around and show you what we're going to make today. This is a really quick and easy project. I think it would be considered really beginner. With your basic tools and basic skills, you should be able to put this together. But all that being said, sometimes simple is really great. This is really chic in my opinion, and just has a nice presence for not being too complicated of a design. So for this piece, we're going to use some of these 6mm fancy Jasper. I already said we're going to do our clasp with this stainless steel carabiner. I have pulled out some stainless steel jump rings from my stash. I had pulled out a steel toggle, but I really think I'm going to use this now that I have Wendy's box to work with. And we will need a few of the bead caps from the box. These are also from my stash. These are just little, very thin silver spacers. I wish I could tell you where I got these. I've had them for a while. They might have come from Bead Box Bargain site, but they're really nice to space or even to stack together. They make a nice silver presence. And then I also pulled out some little stainless steel spacer beads. I'm trying to use as much stainless steel in this piece as I can because the box had that. Also from my stash, you actually could do this piece with the chain that came in the box, which is this beautiful stainless steel paper clip chain, but I already did one necklace with that, and I decided to do this one a little bit daintier. So this chain, let me see if I can tell you, this came from Bead Box Bargains, from Bargain Bead Box in a box. I don't remember how long ago. It was bag number 1. And it is 3mm steel Rollo chain in antique silver. So they may still have this on their website. I didn't check, but that's the chain I decided to use for this piece. I'm also going to use this laser cut stainless steel mountain pendant, and I have some wire. I already cut a few pieces, and I just want to talk to you quickly about how I do my wire, because everyone does it a little bit differently. I like to store my wire in a plastic bag like this, and I just take my scissors and cut the packaging so that I know what it is in this bag. So this is the Beadalon 20 gauge round German style medium tempered wire. It's silver plated, and I just put that in there, and my spool is down to not very much, but I like to do it this way because I don't have to worry about waste. If I have small scraps of wire, or if I was making a project and didn't use some pieces, they go in the bag. And then if I need to make jump rings or head pins or any kind of a smaller component for a necklace, I know that those scraps are in there and I'm not wasting. So I just keep it in the bag like this. So we will need to cut. Actually, I don't need to cut because I do have some scraps in here. So let me just pull out some pieces of wire, have them handy, set that aside. And then let's see, here's some more of those 6mm Jasper. And I already started a little bit playing with these beads, so I have done a couple of the components just to save time. Let me lay it out for you, what my idea is. Also using the Jasper nugget beads, and honestly, I just thought they made such a pretty statement together, not separated, and I got the idea, even though they're nuggets, to make a really simple bar and do a Y necklace a little bit different. I usually do them where the Y part of the necklace is flowing. So this is going to be our down drop. And then I created this little component with the 8mm faceted Jasper and the bead caps from the box. And we'll put that there. And I think hang the little mountain there. So we'll need to create our bar on wire. We'll need to do another Jasper bead with the bead caps for the top. So that's going to be the Y. And then I was playing around with the components and I created one already. So I think that's going to be this V point. And we will do another one for this side. Put these out of the way a bit. We'll do another one component for these sides. And since I have Wendy's box to work with and have some extra of the Jasper, I was thinking to add an even smaller component on each side. So let's choose 4. Let me choose 4 that I like the color, since they'll be sort of standalone components. That one's a bit dark. I like that one right there. Okay, let me just clean this up a little bit so it's out of our way. This necklace comes together really quickly, and I hope it will give you an idea. You can change it up. You can do it exactly this way, but maybe you'll get an idea for something you want to do. So my idea for adding this extra small component, pull that down, is just a bead, a Jasper, and a crystal on each side. I'm just laying this out before I start the wire wrapping so I can see where I'm going with it. And I think also one on each side here. Okay, so there's the, whoops, one more. So there's the beads that we will need for that. And I am going to use the tool today called the one-step looper. For those of you who don't know what it is, it comes in 3 sizes and it literally makes your simple loop all in one step. And I've gotten really adept at using it. I can do it with my pliers and I do it that way sometimes too, but I just really like this tool and it kind of saves my hands a little bit. So let's start with our long component. I actually left them on the string. Move this down. Let's start with our long component. I have a long piece of wire here. I do not know the length of this. I tend to measure with my heart. I make my jewelry with my heart. I'm a little bit lacking on the technical side, but for those of you that like to measure, my mat is about 14 inches. I would say it's 7 or 8 inches long piece of wire. And we're just going to do a simple loop on one end. So if you're not familiar with this tool, you put the wire underneath the mandrel that's inside the tool and go through the hole in the back. And then you just simply close the tool, and let me see if I can do it slowly so you can see what happens. It does the loop around the mandrel, cuts the excess off, gives you a nice blunt cut, and all in one step. Now while it's still in the tool, I like to give it just a 45-degree bend and warm my wire with my fingers a little bit to straighten it. But when you take it off the tool, you have a near perfect loop. Even when I'm making loops with my pliers, I'm fussy about my loops, so I will still come in with my pliers and tidy it up and work harden. So you can work harden without hammering on a bench block by just opening and closing your pliers over the loop. And I try to remember to do that. So that's done, and now we're simply going to string these nugget beads on in this order because I just thought they were so pretty on in a row like that is what I meant to say. So just simple stringing onto the wire. I thought they had just made a nice statement like that without separating them. We're going to put it on the wire and have a look at it. I also thought the simple loop instead of a wire wrapped loop, because that way they would move around. And since it's a Y necklace, I thought that movement might be nice, but you could wire wrap both ends if you want to tighten your row of beads. So I sort of even like that because they're nuggets. I sort of like that little bit of silver peeking through instead of spacers or anything. But again, you could add spacers in between or seed beads or the crystals that came in the box. You know, play around with it and make the design your own. Now, I hear a lot of people saying they want their loops all going in the same direction. I honestly don't think when the piece is finished that anyone sees that. So do what makes you happy. I got into the habit of doing mine on the opposite. If this one went down, then I do the other end up. And I don't know why, I just started doing it that way. So we're just going to put that wire through the tool, through that hole, and back off of your bead just a tiny bit, because now that there are beads on the wire, you don't want to break your bead. And the tool needs a little bit of space for coming around that mandrel and making that loop. Just like that. And while it is still in the tool, I take the opportunity to just straighten my bar and even your loop. If you want to make sure your loops are going in the same direction, keep it in the tool and just make sure it's straight. Remove that tool, and then as always, I just can't leave it alone. I have to make sure that loop is closed really well, touching so there's no space, and work harden a little bit. So that's our component, our bar component. So that's what we're looking like so far. Then let's make these smaller components, and I'm just going to use my scraps of wire and this tool and just repeat that process for the smaller components. I'm going to do one of these on camera and then I'll pause and meet you back because I just want to say something about using this tool with the crystal beads. When you make that first loop on the empty wire before your beads are on, it's really easy. You just do what I just did. Now we're going to thread on one of these crystals, one of the 6mm, oh, I dropped it, one of the 6mm Jasper beads and another crystal. And then we're going to put this wire back in the tool if it wants to go in. There's a little bend at the end. Okay, we have it. So you don't want your crystal bead to be right up to that edge of the one-step looper because you could break your crystal. So I back the wire out just a tiny bit before I close this tool. And if you can see that space in there. And that way you ensure that you don't break your crystal. So I will just do that same thing that I do, that little 45-degree bend. And again, while that's in the tool, take that opportunity to straighten the loop and have a look that everything's straight. Open the tool and take it off, and we have one of those components made. So I need to make 2 of these components for each side of the necklace and a component like this, just one for the other side because I already have this one done. So let me pause the video, get those done, and I will meet you back. Okay, we have one last component to make. It is a duplicate of this one, I think for the top of the bar necklace. And we're going to repeat that same step, just a scrap piece of wire, my one-step looper, make that simple loop in this tool. And then, as soon as this last little component, I just wanted to make it with you. It's pretty simple. It is a bead cap facing up one of the 8mm faceted Jasper beads and a bead cap facing the bead, and put that wire back into the one-step looper right up to the edge, and just let it make that simple loop around that little mandrel. Give that a little bit of a bend. Just tidy up my loops. And now the fun part, because now it's simple connection. Simple connecting. This is when you see all of your components come together and make a beautiful piece of jewelry. So I have an assortment. I just pulled out a large assortment of jump rings because in order to have movement, I want to put a jump ring in between each component. You don't have to. If you don't have stainless steel jump rings or you like the look of it, you can simply open the ends of your simple loop just like a jump ring and connect those together. But I'm going to use the jump rings. So let me sort them out here. These two large ones, I'll show you what we're going to do with this carabiner and those two large ones. And I have a really tiny ones. I think these are 4mm. Let's see about the medium ones for the down part of the pendant. And these little 4mm ones to go in between the component. So we will start at the bottom. We'll take one of these sort of medium size. I think these might be 5mm, maybe 6. I'm not sure, but that won't matter in the design. Need a second pair of pliers to open these. And then we're just going to open it front to back, a twist, so we don't disturb the round shape of our jump ring. And just put that through the stainless steel laser cut mountain pendant and then one end of our component, and close that jump ring really well. Make sure there's no space in between it. Make sure it's just a continuous circle. Okay, and then we need another one of those jump rings. Twist it open. Now we're going to add this to our bar component of nugget Jasper beads. Close that really well. And do the same thing with that top component. Again, you do not have to use jump rings in between these components. I really think it adds to the movement of the piece. It flows a little bit more easily and it doesn't get sort of kinked when you're wearing it. This jump ring is a little misshapen. Let me get my plier in there. Tidy it up. Okay. Now the down part of our Y necklace is completed, and now we're going to create that V connection. So I need, that looks a bit smaller. Let's go for these. So open this and go up each side exactly the same. So that's the left side of the necklace. Do the same thing on the right side. Open the jump ring. We're going to connect right there at the top of the pendant, and then the component. Close that really well. Ah, sorry guys, I made a mistake. My connection was on the lower part of the Y necklace instead of where it needs to be. Change that really quickly. Yes, we have to come up one. I get excited when I'm at the point of connecting a piece and go too fast, and so let's see what we have. So there's where we're going so far. Then we'll move to our bigger component, our longer component, and I think I'm going to switch to the smaller, the 4mm jump rings for that one. So just connect those two components. Okay, that's the left side. The same thing on the right side. I love Y necklaces. It's one of my favorite things to wear, and when I'm making it for myself, I tend to make them really long. So I do a lot of versions of this. And, you know, sometimes I will look at beads, and because I love this style of necklace, I'll look at it with the idea of how would that look as a Y necklace. So I guess that's what I did with this box as well. For stainless steel jump rings, a couple of these are really not round. Okay. Last component on each side. And then I'll show you what I decided to do with the chain. And as I said, I am not using the chain that came in this month's box because I did use it already on the other necklace, but you could. It would be really pretty. It just would be another really pretty option with this idea. So you can totally do that. Honestly, you could take the Y part and change the chain or the part that goes around your neck to anything. You could do a leather, really whatever you like. Green leather would be pretty with these beads. I am talking and I connected my jump ring without connecting the component. You see, Wendy made this look effortless, but to talk and work and film and stay in camera all at the same time is not as easy as she made it seem. Okay, so now to attach the chain. Everybody that makes jewelry knows this trick, and probably most of you have seen it, but in order to avoid counting links, you can just put a pin, a piece of wire, scrap, because I want to cut it in pretty close to the middle. And actually, if I remember correctly from working with this chain before, you don't even have to cut this one. I think we can open the link. Let's try. I think so. Maybe it is soldered. I can't tell. No, it's not soldered, but it is stainless steel, and it's not happy about being opened. So I'm just cutting it in the halfway part. Now, we'll go ahead and connect one of these to each side with one of these smaller jump rings that we did the other components with. And then I discovered that the chain that came with the box can slide right onto that carabiner, but this chain is too small, it cannot. So you will be attaching jump rings and sliding that onto the carabiner. Let's go to the other side of the necklace. I hope this video is not going to be too long. You know, I'm so new at making these videos while I'm working. I'm trying to keep them at the proper length so nobody gets bored, but they get to see the end result. So I'm working on that, guys, and I so appreciate your patience. So on this end, I'll just show you, I tried it and it does not go on like the chain that came in the box. The links of this chain are just a tiny bit too small, and even if you could get them on, it would not flow nicely. I think it would always be stuck. So I decided I really wanted to use that clasp since I had Wendy's extra one, her box. So I just decided to do a pretty nice size jump ring. These look like 8mm to me, but I think 6 would work as well. Use what you have. And then once the jump rings are on the end of the smaller chain, just thread it on just the way that you can do with the larger chain that I showed you in the first necklace. And this necklace, I think, can go right over your head, but this is a really easy and unusual way to clasp a necklace. Okay, there's our beautiful, nice long Y necklace with all the Jasper beads, that unusual clasp, our laser cut mountain. I will get this on a necklace form, take some pictures, and put that up for you guys. And I hope it inspired you. I hope it gave you some ideas. You change this up, make it your own. And I'm so grateful for your time and for letting me talk to you today. And I will see you all in the next video. Ciao.